What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F122 for My Team Career Mode Season 2, round number 2, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So, first of all, we actually redo some of our, well, signed some sponsors. I think we re-signed one and then also put in a new sponsor as well. It was our control electronics that went last time in Bahrain, so we're going to have to go to the second one of those, so that's a little bit disappointing. First round of the season and we have a mechanical failure on lap 4, so we're definitely wanting to make amends this time around at Jeddah. We're going to put a few facility upgrades on the car, actually a fabrication for durability and also the resource point generation for powertrain. Looking at R&D, we have actually just dipped below AlphaTauri, although we're pretty much dead on with them now, but we were a little bit ahead of them in Bahrain. As far as I can remember, we have quite a few upgrades coming in for Australia next time out, so hopefully we will have a bit of a jump up the order, at least back ahead of AlphaTauri again going into Australia next time. So Jeddah, this is a track all about straight line speed, although you've got to have good downforce as well because a lot of very quick corners. And I mean, last season we had one of our biggest issues was ERS deployment and engine power. Really, that was our big issue. Well, I focused on that so much last season that we seem to have an absolute rocket ship of a car this season. So we actually go into Q2, we end up P5 at the end of Q1. Now, I'm sure a lot of the top guys weren't pushing to the max, I pretty much was, but P5 is ridiculous. Schumacher once again, P17 again, so just missing out on Q2. So although we seem to have good pace in the car, Schumacher does not at the moment. We're just absolutely, you know, smashing this out as best as we can. Of course, brand new control electronics in the car, although I don't think that's going to make much of a difference because everybody else will only have one round of you know, one race of durability on that anyway, of wear on that, so I really don't think that's going to make a whole lot of a difference. But I think, you know, I can just really push the car, and although our aero and our chassis isn't quite as good as a lot of the other teams, our power is, honestly, we're one of the quickest cars, we're one of the best cars for on the powertrain side. So this is a track that, weirdly enough, I think last season did not suit us, although we had some pretty good racing here, because, you know, when the AI are battling, you lose a lot of time on this track because you can be so quick around the corners. If you are side by side battling through those high speed corners especially, you lose a lot of time. I think that's why we were more competitive than I expected last season, but this season we genuinely have a pretty good car. I think that P5 in Q1 is not, I mean, that's not where we are. We're not getting into Q3, I'll say that right now. You're seeing the full lap in Q2 because we did not make it through to Q3. But, and this was actually my first attempt in Q2. My second flying lap did not go quite as well. Just didn't go as quick, didn't have as good of a run. We actually go quickest here because we're one of the first drivers out on track. We end up P13 in the end. I think that's actually pretty much where we started in Bahrain as well. Alex Albon P16, so he's in the Williams, still getting into Q2, that's good, and Pierre Gasly just ahead of us in the AlphaTauri. So yeah, let's see what the race has in store for us.
We're here today on the shores of the Red Sea in the lower Hijaz Mountains to visit one of the newest circuits on the Formula One calendar. We're in Jeddah, home to what we all hope is going to be a thrilling Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Stroll, George Russell and Norris, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon, Magnussen, Gasly, Shaw and Bottas, Schwartzman, Albon, Mick Schumacher and Yuki Tsunoda, Joe, Vettel, Liam Lawson, and Nicholas Latifi. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Alright, so formation lap for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix as we maybe put the power down a bit too much off the start line there and very nearly career into the wall. But yeah, we're starting behind Gasly, so that's what made me think that, you know, I was thinking, oh, is our difficulty not quite right? But I mean, the AlphaTauri is pretty much dead on level with us on R&D, so for him to be ahead of us only by 1 position, I think we're about where we should be, but I guess we'll see where we go in the race, because I tend to have better race pace than quali pace. To 5 red lights for the Saudi Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. It's once again not the best start from us. Valtteri Bottas gets a great start from behind us, and now we actually have Schwartzman looking up the inside, but we're going to dive up the inside of Bottas, have a look at Gasly, but we're not going to quite make that move stick, and we're still kind of looking around Bottas, but he unfortunately does manage to get past us. So now we've slotted back to P14, lost 1 position at the start of this race. It's now Alex Albon behind us in P15, so he's made a place on, I think, Zhou Guanyu off the start here, or it might actually, no, it'll probably be Robert Schwartzman, who's now fallen a little bit back, of course, only his 2nd race in Formula 1 in that Haas. And as we continue on here, we're just trying to keep right here. We've got Bottas right in front of us, and we're having a little bit of a look at him, to be honest, because there's big trains. I mean, it's only first lap, but there's just a massive train at the moment, and I think that's going to be kind of what's going to happen for the majority of this race, just big trains everywhere. So we just continue on here. Got a little bit of pressure from Albon behind, actually. He's doing an amazing job in that Williams, which is by quite a long way. I mean, not massive. The field spread between the whole grid isn't massive, but as we go up into this fast left-hander, we go for a dive bomb on Valtteri Bottas. We don't quite get the move stuck there, but we're just going to try and get a better line through. Albon is having a look on our inside, but now we have an absolute rocket ship in a straight line here. DRS isn't even enabled yet, and we're going to fly ourselves around the outside of Bottas going into the final hairpin. We're going to carry that speed through. He's still there on the inside, but with ERS and a slipstream, we are going to absolutely rocket ship our way forward. Our car is so quick in a straight line. This is going to be crazy once DRS comes into play, but Bottas is still there because we're kind of getting a little bit caught up with Gasly, who's trying to make a move on the Haas of Kevin Magnussen, and we're having a little look on Gasly, but with the cars as close as they are on these first couple of laps, there's nothing we can really do here, and we're just going to have to stay in position. But we're back into P13, back ahead of Bottas. As on lap 3, we're having a look at Gasly now. He's going defensive, and he's actually making a move now, going offensive on Magnussen ahead, and he's just about got ahead, but now DRS is enabled. I think they're both going to have DRS. Magnussen gets a slightly better run, but I mean, look at this. They have DRS. I don't know if they're using ERS. The light's not flashing, so I'm guessing they are. They're not in harvesting mode, but we are just so quick. Our car is so damn quick in a straight line. This is really going to help us here, and Gasly's actually got it a little bit slow off the corner fighting Magnussen, and we're going to go around the outside of the next corner, get very, very close, but just get around and get ahead of the Frenchman. We're up into P12 now. We seem to have some pretty good pace here. Towards the front of the grid, well, Max Verstappen is quite a way off in the lead, but you've got a battle between Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc and Lance Stroll, who is of course in the Red Bull car this season, replacing Sergio Perez, who retired at the end of last season. And of course Charles Leclerc, who is the Ferrari at the back in this one, is now donning the number 1 on his car. Max Verstappen, who leads this race, has the number 33 back on his car now, as Sainz manages to get that move on Stroll. So it's still a big fight between Red Bull and Ferrari this season, as we are now catching up to Kevin Magnussen. You can just see the closing speeds. I mean, the Haas is supposedly on paper a little bit quicker than us. but they're only just ahead of us, but he doesn't have DRS now, and we are just going to absolutely fly alongside him, and we're going to try and brake as late as we can into turn 1, just hang it around the outside and get the move on Magnussen up into P11 now, 1 position away from points. As we now have a look at a battle between the two Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton trying to make his way past his teammate George Russell as they go side by side into the final hairpin here. Russell on the inside, Hamilton trying to get past on the outside. I think Hamilton is going to have the DRS here, and he's just going to pull away from his teammate and get ahead there. That is what the 7-time world champion needs to do. He is now ahead of his teammate and can see if he can chase down some of the cars ahead. Looking at that battle again between the two Ferraris and Lance Stroll in the Red Bull, well, Lando Norris has now joined in on the party in the McLaren as well, but Leclerc is going to go for a dive on Stroll. Stroll is not looking as quick as his teammate for sure. I mean, Verstappen is way off in the lead of this race. Stroll not quite there at the moment, but he's hanging on at the moment to what is P3 from Charles Leclerc. The reigning world champion Charles Leclerc gets a beautiful move though through that corner, and that is Leclerc now up into P3, so it is now a double podium once again at the moment for Ferrari, but Max Verstappen still leading the way. As now, Lando Norris wants to get in on this action, and he wants to overtake the susceptible Lance Stroll as well. Leclerc going quite defensive into turn 1. He locks up a little bit, or he might just actually go a bit too wide, and that puts Norris into P3. Stroll's now P4, and Sainz moves down to P5. So he's going to, Leclerc down to P5. He's going to want to make those positions back up again. Meanwhile, just showing the pace we've got, we've now caught up to the back of the other McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo, and we've got the two Alpines ahead of us, as well as we're going for a move on the McLaren round the outside. A beautiful move from us, and we get that position. We just seem to be absolutely flying away in this race. Like I said, I think our quali pace was about where it should have been. I'm thinking maybe we should have put the difficulty up a couple of steps for the race, but I mean, we're just so quick in a straight line, and with everybody else fighting like these two are here, it's just really helping us out a lot here. So we're making good progress. As Norris and Stroll still battling it out here, with Leclerc sniffing around in the background. You can also see the two Mercedes catching up to these guys as well, and just behind them is the two Alpines and then myself, as Stroll goes wide into turn 1 and Leclerc makes the move around the outside of him and Norris, and he's now back up into P3 again. So that's definitely a fight that I want to keep my eyes on. As we head into the pits, going on to lap number 12, we're going to go onto the hard set of tyres, the hard compound of tyres, for the final stint of this race. And it's a good pit stop from the team, good pit stop indeed. We've been having a lot more luck with pit stops in these last few races than we did at the start of this career mode, so I'm hoping things can keep going well there. George Russell comes into the pits the next lap around. He's going to have a very good pit stop from the Mercedes team, and he actually manages to jump Lando Norris. So now the Mercedes are in on this battle as well. That is going to turn into one big juicy battle, and here it is. Stroll heads this train at the moment, with Lewis Hamilton, actually the driver, trying to attack him behind. Then you've got Russell, Norris, and you've actually got the Alpine of Fernando Alonso also in the mix here as well, and I'm just behind these guys too, because with them fighting as they almost go 3 wide into turn 1, Russell manages to overtake Hamilton and is now having a go at Stroll as well. It is massive battles here, and this is just helping us out to catch up to these guys. It's a 5-way battle. Look at all this, as Russell's past Stroll, Hamilton and Norris are now battling behind. Hamilton on the outside, Russell trying to keep it on the inside, but he can't quite do it. Hamilton keeps that position, but there is a mighty battle going on here, and just look at how close and how much I've now managed to catch up to these guys. I'm essentially, I mean, I'm still a fair way from Russell, who's in the lead of this train, but I'm essentially in the battle for P4 now, pretty much, which is absolutely crazy. Our car is just flying around this track at this point in time, and we're just making the most of it, to be completely honest, because those guys will keep battling, but behind us there is a bit more of a battle going on between Zhou Guanyu in the Alfa Romeo, who locks up into the final corner. He's got, I think that's Kevin Magnussen, just getting past him now, but Zhou Guanyu in the Alfa Romeo is going to try and keep the position. He's going to try and stay around the outside as they head into the turn 1 and 2 chicane, but Magnussen's going to keep his car there on the outside, and they're still going to be side by side as they go into this next left-hand corner. Great battle from these guys here, as you have Bottas and I think it's Gasly just up ahead of them. These guys still side by side. Awesome racing between these two, but Zhou in the end has to back out. Magnussen manages to get that position. And this battle that we're a part of is still going on strong. Russell still currently leading this train, but he locks up a little bit into the final corner. That lets Stroll come through. So Stroll is now leading this train and has DRS. Russell does not have DRS. His teammate Lewis Hamilton is going to get the move, and I think he might even have a look at Stroll. Not quite, but Norris now having a big dive bomb up the inside of Russell and getting past Hamilton. That is an epic move from Lando Norris, and now the two Mercedes find themselves battling once again. This is just the most epic of battles here. Russell on the inside, now on the outside for the next corner. He's got his teammates right there, but I think he's just about managed to get ahead at this point. So Russell keeps the position from his teammate, but he's lost 2 positions to Stroll and Norris. This is one epic battle going on, and we're just watching on with a bag of popcorn because we really shouldn't have the pace of these guys, but I think a mix of these guys just battling it out like crazy, us having a very quick car in a straight line, and also maybe the difficulty needing to be a couple of points higher. We are in this battle right now. We really are. And I mean, we've got Ocon and Ricciardo behind, but we're pretty much pulling away from them, maybe losing a bit to them here because of, you know, getting stuck in this battle ahead. But now there's a bit of a gap for Alonso to Hamilton up ahead, and we're going to close right up to the back of Fernando. We know that the Alpine is a pretty quick car, but I think we are even quicker as we go onto the front straight here. DRS open, ERS deploying as well, and we're going to go for a move around the outside of Fernando Alonso in the Alpine through turn 1. Similar move that we've done on some other cars. He gives us a little bit more of a fight. But then that is not what we want to hear. It sounds like we may have an issue. Not again. We had a DNF last time out. Please don't happen again. I cannot believe it. We have another mechanical failure. 2 in a row. The first 2 races of this season, we went all season 1 without a single mechanical failure, and we get 2 on the bounce at the start of season 2. It is awful for us because this time we were definitely looking at scoring points, but unfortunately it's another retirement. It's a terrible start to season 2 for us. And yeah, it's the walk of shame once again into the back.
Another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team.
So Max Verstappen wins again at Saudi Arabia, and it's the exact same podium. It's Charles Leclerc in second for Ferrari, Carlos Sainz for second for Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc third for Ferrari. So it's the exact same podium as in Bahrain, but it's heartbreak for us because we were definitely looking to score points in that race. I think, honestly, I don't know what we could have got. I mean, I think P8, P9 was probably the worst we were going to get, which is where we were at the time. But depending on how things went, we could have been challenging the 2 Mercedes. We could have, crazily, if something went down, we could have been challenging for P4 in that race, as crazy as it seems. But it's not the case because we have a second mechanical failure in a row to start this season off. So that's just so unfortunate. I'm really hoping for some better luck for the rest of this season, because having 2 failures already, I mean, having a look here, we are now P22, dead last in the Drivers' Championship. So yeah, pretty brutal for us. AlphaTauri move up to P6, but it's still only the top 5 teams that have scored any points so far this season, and only 10 drivers scoring points. So yeah, it's not going so well for us at the moment, but hopefully we can pick things up. Some upgrades coming through, I think, for Australia next time around, so hopefully then we'll have a good race and we'll actually make it to the end. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.